why shadow work is so important on your spiritual journey, and how you can get through it without going through the dark night of the soul. Hey everyone, my name is Jessie and welcome back to my channel. I'm a law of attraction specialist and a life coach. Today in this video, I'm going to talk to you about shadow work, and I'm going to focus on your shadow work between you and your parents. So let's get right into it. Hey, so I have some questions here that I want you to go ahead and write down so that you can start working through your shadow work. But first, what is shadow work? Shadow work is the deep, dark part of your soul. It's stuff that maybe you've learned from somewhere outside of you that now they're become habits, and they're negative things, right? They're negative things that you do every single day, or maybe they're just patterns that you've had in your life, whether it's like attracting abusive men or being manipulative or shouting at people. It could be any of those things. So shadow work, what it is, it's identifying where those behaviors come from and actually integrating them, sending them love, becoming grateful that you've had the experience, and actually like working through it and letting it go. I went ahead and I took some notes, and I have a couple questions that I'm going to give you that you can write down and you can ask yourself so that you can get started on this journey. So I have my handy dandy cell phone. Let me go ahead and, get some of these questions because it's really important. Question number 1, what were the patterns and stories about masculine energy that your dad had? So go ahead and look at the patterns that your dad had. For me, my stepdad, he had this pattern where he would go to work, and I saw how he interacted with people, and I sort of adapted that same thing. We talked a lot the same. We create friends pretty much the same, and we also lost friends the same. So he had all of these business clients, and I was like, wow, he's so great. He's making all these friends. Really, it wasn't like that, right? Like they weren't long-term friends. They were just business acquaintances, but I took that as this is how I make friends. So, I have that same masculine energy about me. We talk very similar. We say and right, and all those little pauses that I got from my stepdad. So what I had to do with my dad is identify that where I was watching him and seeing what he was doing, and then I had to become aware of how I was doing that in my life. And then I can go ahead and make the change, because that's what's so awesome is that once you become aware, you can actually start changing that behavior. So the second thing that I want you to ask yourself is the same, but for your mom. So what about what stories about your mom's masculine energy? So like my mom's masculine energy was she was a liar and a manipulator. I was very lucky that I grew up in foster care and I wasn't with these people all the time, like for my whole life, or who knows where I would have ended up. But like I said, my mom was a liar and a manipulator. So I started to do the same thing with people. So I'm loud because of my father or my stepdad, and then I'm lying and manipulating. So it's like, how did I not think that people weren't going to see right through that shit? I mean, they really did all the time, but I wasn't seeing it. I was just like, well, I don't know what's wrong with you. I'm just being me, right? No. I had developed these habits that I got from my parents, and those are the masculine ones, right? So then I want you to ask yourself, what are the stories about your mom and dad that are feminine energies? Okay. Because for my stepdad, he was like the nice guy. Like he was just giving all of the time. He really was. And for women, you often hear them say like, oh yeah, I just want a nice guy, right? But what about nice guys finishing last? That's really how it happens, because they become doormats. And that's what, my stepdad is he was a doormat. And I took that into my life. And then I'm such a giver. I just want to help people. But I took it to an extreme where it was like, no matter what, whenever somebody needed anything, it was like, call Jessie. Jessie will be right there, right? Because I thought that's how I gain love, is like, I'm just nice and I just give and give. And then my mom, she had the feminine, poor me type of energy where, it was a silent manipulation where she would just be such a victim with everything. I mean, she was such a victim. And I learned that. So I became a victim. Whenever something bad happened to me, I was blaming outside things for things happening to me rather than, accepting it and taking responsibility for my life. No, 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 no. I was a victim, 100%. And I was that way until my spiritual awakening started to happen. Like when my late husband passed away is when I started on that journey. And I was still that way after that. I was still a victim. This was like the worst thing that had ever happened to me. And I totally played the victim card. And then about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I think, about 2 years ago, I actually ended up in a relationship with my twin flame. And that was like, that's another story for another time. I can make a video on that. If you guys want me to make a video on my experience with my twin flame, I would love to do that. I don't want to get too much into it because, limited on time on everything for this video. But my twin flame was exactly who I had created from birth. Like all those habits, like I thought, okay, this is the exact man that I need to like be my savior. And that was my twin flame. And he had done the same for me, right? So however he grew up, he like essentially created me, right? Because that's the bond there through the twin flame. But like I said, my mom was a victim. And so I ended up being that way as well. The next thing you want to ask is, can you see how you may have adopted some of their stories and which ones that you might have agreed to? So which stories did you adopt? Like what of their behaviors and their stories did you adopt? So like I just gave you some examples, right? There's masculine stories and there's feminine stories. For me, it was like I always wanted somebody who could buy me things to show me love. Right? Because that's one of the things that I learned growing in foster care was like, okay, I can move from house to house and get new stuff, and that's how they're going to show me that they love me. So I took that into relationships. Because you have to understand, being in foster care, those were my parents, right? But I had so many different ones. Like my biological mom and my stepdad were like really not great examples. We don't realize that when we're kids, and it's not their fault. We're not blaming them. But what we are doing is we are doing shadow work to heal the collective. So it's not just for me and you, it is for the collective. So you have to also look at it this way, like your mom and dad had parents, they had parents, they had parents, they had parents. So it's like, it's been conditioned through generations. And as we're doing the shadow work, you're actually doing generational healing as well. So you're healing your own shadow work and your parents and their parents and so on and so forth. If you have some of the same stories and patterns, which I know you do because we all do, are you ready to let go of them? So once you've done this work where you've identified these different stories, masculine and feminine from your parents, and you've identified them in yourself, and you're like, yeah, kind of been like an asshole, but I didn't realize I was an asshole, but now I see it. Are you ready to let go of that? Are you ready to actually send love to that? Are you ready to love that unconditionally, that part of you? You're ready to be grateful, and then you're ready to let go of it? Because that's going to be the most important part, is actually like not just being aware of it, but letting it go and loving it and accepting it, because it's okay. You're not in trouble for the things that you've done in the past, but you have an opportunity right now to change and to do it differently moving forward. And that's the most important part, because like I said, this is for the collective. It isn't just for yourself. The best way to really let go of it is to rewire it. Like I said, send unconditional love to it. Another thing you can do is tell a new story. Okay? So yes, my mom was manipulative and a liar, and I was that way, but I'm not that way now. Now I am open and confident and unconditionally loving and honest and quiet when I need to be. I don't need a man to validate me through gifts because I validate myself. I love myself. Right? I don't need the nice guy. I want a strong, independent man who has his own goals and sets boundaries the same way I do. So that's how I started to work through my shadow work and actually integrate it. And you can do the same thing. Comment down below. I'm going to start today. Share your story, because we always love to hear your stories and where you're from. If you need more help with this, I actually have a worksheet, and subscribe to my channel because I'm dedicated to making videos every single day to help you become the best version of yourself. There's so much more that we can go into this. I mean, we can go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. So let me know what you're struggling with your shadow work so that I can make a video that helps you, because it is your journey that matters. Live your best life, love everyone around you, and be grateful for all the miracles and blessings that come into your life every single day. Like I said, my name is Jessie Everett, and I'm so glad that you are here. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.